You're listening to the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus, changing rock history one podcast at a time. All right, moms and dads, boys and girls, children, moms, grandparents. Who else, Kevin?
Second cousins.
Oh,
boy.
Kissing cousins, especially the kissing cousins from West Virginia. Those are my favorite.
Well, those are brothers and sisters also.
Oh, yes.
Sorry. I hope there's nobody watching or listening. From
I know. Sorry.
It's a joke.
Wait, let me adjust the camera.
Camera.
Hey. We're going to do a podcast in a couple of weeks on bands that I was thinking of because it made me think of Camera Eye by Rush.
Right.
We can talk about Rush freely tonight. No Lily.
Oh, Rush. Okay, we're back.
But, so I had to adjust the camera. Lily's not here.
Right.
And, but I was thinking of, we're going to do a podcast in a couple of weeks about
What?
bands that are like absolutely huge. Like they're really, really big bands, but they never had a number one song.
Oh.
And there's so many that you go like...
Right, you're like, they didn't?
No, that can't be. You're like looking it up. You're like, shit, they didn't. Mm-hmm. You know the highest charting song for Rush? Can't believe you don't know this. I thought for sure
It has to be Tom Sawyer. What?
I thought too.
But?
It's not.
What is it?
It's Analog Man.
Is it really?
It's Analog Man, number 23.
Wow.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, because that Tom Sawyer was like their breakout thing. Like everybody knew Tom Sawyer back in the day.
Everybody knows that song. How many people out there can hum a verse of Analog Man by Rush right now? Kevin can.
Of course I can. But I always get like Analog Man and Digital Man kind of mixed up because they're all
New World Man.
And New World Man. It's all in my head.
Man. It's all man. What like a freaking sexist Geddy Lee and Neil Peart work?
Yeah.
Writing some man.
Well, you know, Alex was into the women though.
Okay. Anyway,
so
it's a Loudini Rock. We didn't even get.
See what happens when Lily's not here.
We need reined in.
Mm-hmm.
It is the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus. Go to LoudiniRockandRollCircus.com. Download. No, there is no app there yet. But go to LoudiniRockandRollCircus.com.
Is that a tease?
There's all kind of very cool stuff there. One of the main reasons you want to go there is to become part of our inner circle group. Folks hang out with us live while we do the podcast. We interact and we have a good time. Also, our YouTube archive is there. All our back episodes, everything is right there. So check it out at LoudiniRockandRollCircus.com. There's some free downloads as well, some of my music. Yes, that was me playing at the very beginning of the podcast. And I was doing something bluesy because we're going to be talking about Stevie Ray Vaughn tonight.
Very good.
I'm not
nice
keeping you in
segue.
suspense about that. Also, like to give a shout out to Wolf's Customs. Go to wolfscustoms.online. Check them out all over social media. Why? Because they do amazing custom finishes. I just saw Chris post. He did an Eddie Van Halen. What's that thing?
Yeah, I saw that.
On a V.
Yeah, that was very cool.
Yeah, that was sick.
Chris, you do great work.
Yeah,
man.
It was beautiful.
Wow.
It was really cool. So check them out. So you get your musical instrument like decked out, man. Why not? You get up on stage and you look a little bit different than the other, five schmucks who played before you.
The schmucks.
You'll just be the sixth schmuck with like a cool guitar. She's who's the schmuck with a cool guitar.
Yes.
RockRageRadio.com. Download the free app. And don't forget to catch Hot Licks with Lily 6 on Rock Rage Radio on Thursdays at 6.
Very good. We pay attention sometimes.
So check her out. Here's what I would like you guys to do. Lily's got something, family situation going on. Her mother's very sick. That's why she's not able to be with us today. What I would like you guys to do is to just anywhere you follow Lily. If you follow her on Instagram or you follow her on Facebook or wherever, just post a comment like, hey, thinking about you, hope your mom's okay, do you need anything, stuff like that is okay, I'll be with you in a minute. Pittsburgh Kevin's going to talk and then I'll take care of this.
Yes.
So but she would just appreciate a hey. heard you going through a tough time, let me know if I can do anything for you. I think that would mean a lot to her.
Exactly.
So go ahead and throw that at her. Pittsburgh Kevin, what is going on with you while I take care of this situation?
Hey, I can tell the story about our good friend Eric real quick while you're checking your stuff. So I get a text from our good friend Eric, who went to high school with him, and he sends me a picture of a Gibson Les Paul Supreme. Now, I don't know if you know this about me, I love me some Les Pauls. He goes, it's going up for auction. What do you think about it? He goes, somebody's saying it's a fake. I'm like, whoa, hold on. So have him send me a bunch of pictures. I do my research, and I just saved this cat like $2,000 because it is not a real Gibson. It's what's called a Chibson. It comes from China, and there was some very...
I get it. It's like C for like China, but like Gibson, right?
Yeah, right. They call it a Chibson.
It's like a Chibson.
But anyway, yeah. So hey, folks, if you're out there buying guitars and stuff, really pay attention because what you're buying may not be what you think it is. But yeah, I mean, it was a very cool guitar. Lou and I both said, hey, for like $300-$400, we would have bought it.
Well, the sort of comment that I made was that you're pretending anyways.
Yeah, right.
When you buy these high-priced, expensive guitars, you're pretending that you're Eddie Van Halen or Jimmy Page or Jimi Hendrix or Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Exactly.
You're not.
Right.
You're hoping to catch some of that mojo, so what's the fucking difference?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
it looks good.
If it looks good and it gives you the vibe, as long as you don't try to pawn it off to people.
Exactly.
No, you don't do that. That's wrong.
No, that's a no-no.
That's wrong. This is, I think that, well, I don't know. Gibson refuses to do kind of like what Paul Reed Smith and some of these other companies do, which is like just make their guitar overseas.
Right.
Well, they have this Epiphone thing, and it's not really.
But it's like
I think here's what Epiphone needs to do. They need to fix the fucking headstock. They did improve it.
They did improve
the
it.
newer ones are improved.
Keep working on it.
It needs to just use the Gibson headstock.
Right.
That would But I think here's what I think is going on with that.
Okay.
I think that they know that if they do that, then then Gibson will really lose money because everybody will buy
go right over to the
because they'll be
Epiphones.
like, okay, there's no difference now. Now we can get a Gibson has a lot of problems with consistency with their instruments, right, Kevin?
Yes, they do.
They have they have
fit and finish.
Like all kind of stupid shit that just they should for the money they charge.
Yeah, that should be a
flawless
guitar.
You compare them to like Paul Reed Smith.
Right.
You buy a $4,000 Paul Reed Smith. It's a $4,000 guitar.
Yes, it is.
I mean, they're really kind of like trying to give you your money. You got the 10 top, and you're gonna have like the best pickups and the best switching and the best playing and all of that shit. I think this is one of the reasons why John Mayer went to Paul Reed Smith and had him make a Strat because, well, that's a thing too. A lot of these guitars, these vintage guitars. Have you ever played a vintage guitar?
Well, if you consider a '79 Les Paul Standard vintage, yes. No, I've never played a real '50s or '60s vintage guitar
ever. Okay, I've been able to play one or two. Just I was at a music store and I snookered the guy into let me play it. But I gotta tell you, man, anyone that I've ever played, I don't think they were very good guitars.
Yeah.
I just didn't like. They just like the modern guitar. I don't understand why Fender and Gibson just can't make a guitar that's as consistent and plays as well as a Paul Reed Smith. If they would just do that, and there's companies that do Fender better than Fender, like Sir. They do Fender better than Fender.
Right.
It's kind of embarrassing.
I know.
And PRS does Gibson better than Gibson, absolutely. That's one of the reasons why there was that lawsuit about the single cut Paul Reed Smiths. What was that, 20 years ago, something like that?
Better than the Les Paul. All right. If Lily was here, she'd be rolling her eyes and reining us in. So let's get.
Okay. Well, here's what I'm going to say about this.
Okay.
Wait a minute. So we usually talk about what we did and stuff.
Right.
So what did you do? Anything?
I saved Eric $2,000.
You want to talk about your date?
No. Okay. Thanks anyway. My personal life is my personal
Oh,
life.
just calm down. I talk about my personal life.
My personal sexy life.
If you want, I'm going to be starting an OnlyFans soon.
Nice. You have beautiful feet. I'm just saying.
I'm going to be selling used underwear.
However, not used by Lou. So you have to read the disclaimer.
You'll have to smell them to figure out who. That's the game. Like, smell the underwear and see who used it.
Oh, this is. Oh no, I'm not good. This is stew. This is stew. It smells like Wiener Schnitzel.
So. All right, I'm trying to not.
Okay,
come on,
simmer down, Lou. Simmer down. Slow down, Loudini. Simmer down.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Real quick, it is spooky season.
Yes, it is.
I have. I don't know how I. We're just going to do this next week. We're going to do the album Trick or Treat by Fastway. Because it's a Halloween. There's a whole Halloween. Blah 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 blah.
Yes.
Okay. So it doesn't take much. You don't have to twist my arm to get me to watch a horror movie. But when spooky season comes along, when Halloween comes along, October comes along, then I think I'd like overindulge myself. I get like, at Christmas time when you overeat.
Yes.
I kind of overdose on horror.
It's Christmas
films.
all year round with me.
So this Halloween season is off to a good start. I did see some very, very good ones.
Okay.
I watched the 2018 Suspiria.
I've heard of that. Have not seen it.
I love that movie. It's just, and
You
it's better on
probably-
video because it's very long. And so I watched it in 3 sittings.
Okay.
I just
There you
broke
go.
it
You can
up,
walk
and
away.
I was like, okay, this is a good place to stop and go to bed or whatever. And really enjoyed it. In the theater, it was a bit much, 2.5 hours. But on home video, streaming. But I watched that, and I watched some old ones too. Of course, I watched The Shining again.
Classic.
I was like, I should save this for closer to Halloween. I'm like, I can't wait. No. I have to see The Shining. That's such a great movie. I also watched The Legend of Hell House, which is from 1974, 3.
Yeah.
Roddy McDowell.
Yes.
It's based on a Richard Matheson novel, which I read before I knew there was a movie about it. I love the novel. The book, the movie is a pretty good. They basically cover the same story, but of course in the novel things are like way more intense and they're like way darker, way more violent, way more. There's a lot more stuff internally in people's minds.
Right,
You can't really communicate that kind of stuff
in a movie. Yeah.
But they caught the general gist of the story, and it's pretty well executed. Especially, there's something about those horror movies from the 70s, like that, The Omen, Rosemary's Baby, The Exorcist. They have a kind of weird, I don't know, because they're shot on original film or something.
Right.
They have a kind of almost like you're watching somebody's home movies that you're not supposed to be watching or something.
Yeah.
They're really creepy. I'm looking forward to Burnt Offerings with Oliver Reed and Betty Davis and Karen Black.
There you go.
She's awesome, man.
Yes.
Freaking love Karen Black. Love me some Karen Black. So anyway, I've been doing a little bit of that, and I have once again a Marshall amplifier in my life.
Hooray!
It's been too long. I sold the first Marshall I had. I sold that a long time ago, 12, 13 years ago. It was a great amplifier. It was fucking killer, but if I could never take it. I took it to one gig. I played it on one Super Monkey gig where he played outside.
Okay.
But if I'd have tried to bring that to a Pat and Shelley gig, I would have been fired. It had 2 settings.
Yes.
Off and brain damage.
Yes.
That was it. Yes. This thing is really cool. This is DSL 20. It is not I always shied away from the DSL amplifier line because I thought they were like a digital, modeling thing.
Yeah.
They're not.
Oh.
They're not. DSL stands for Dual Super Lead.
Huh.
Basically, it is from what I understand, it's like a JCM 2000 with an original Super Lead channel as well.
Okay.
So you can kind of get the heavier type tones, and you can get the more classic type tones as well.
Interesting.
And I have this awesome Marshall cabinet from the 1970 with original greenbacks in it. So that was the first thing I did. I plugged the Marshall amplifier into the Marshall cabinet, and of course I had to get out a Les Paul and do the thing.
Yes.
And oh man, it was heaven. It's heaven. Yes. So I've been, and when I did the intro at the beginning, I was playing my Telecaster. I didn't want to use the Strat because the Strat is single coil pickups, and this room is noisy, and all you hear is the whole time, so we don't want to do that. So that was my week. Yeah, it was good. It was okay.
And it's funny because I was doing something Friday night. Unfortunately, could not come over, but I could hear you. I live next door to Lou. I can hear you in my kitchen, which is like the farthest room from Lou's house, and I'm just bopping my head. I'm like, yeah, that do sounds sweet.
So standing right in front of it with your I could
it's just
the vibration. You feel it's amazing. It's really there's nothing quite like it. It's only the 20-watt thing, but it kicks ass.
Yep.
So yeah, that was pretty much my week. My band Felon rehearsed. We're getting really good, and I'm really excited.
So you guys are gelling?
Yeah, gelling like a felon.
See what I did there?
I saw what you did. In fact, we need to get our.
We need some sound.
We need our orchestra to come and help us out here. So what do we got here? We got how about one? No, I'm not finding what I want.
Hold on.
Where is my?
We're work in progress.
So let's go ahead while I'm doing that.
Yeah. There we go.
While I'm doing that, and let's talk about this because this was so crazy. Kevin and I lived through this.
Yes.
This was current events to us.
Mm-hmm. Back in the day.
So you have the era of Madonna, Duran, Michael Jackson, Culture Club, Wham, all these artists. And then
all of a sudden,
out of nowhere,
out of the blue,
the blues comes back. The blues has a giant resurgence.
It's crazy.
And kind of led by Stevie Ray Vaughn. He was I think there was I think that he looked good on MTV. They were able to make good videos for him. I think it was one of the things that really set him aside because how many blues artists were making videos for MTV?
This many.
Exactly.
Zero.
Yeah. I don't really think there were any.
Not at that point.
Any that had them were just appearances on Austin City Limits or something like that.
Right.
This is the first, and these were videos that were made for MTV. They weren't just something recycled. It was actually made for MTV.
Yes.
That is, I think, was really key, and it was completely different. It's not like anything else. This was also a time, Mr. Pittsburgh,
yes, sir,
when people were impressed with your playing.
Exactly.
They really wanted to hear you jam. They really they were tuned into the different members of the band. A lot of people knew all the members of the band. I heard somebody saying one time that there was a lot of people that went to see Led Zeppelin just to hear John Bonham play drums.
Yeah,
that was
because they knew
the
members of the band. They had a
understood.
connection with them.
Right.
Exactly.
So this was still, people at this time were still really into that. Every song had some kind of guitar solo, saxophone solo, keyboard or piano solo, Hammond B3 solo, something like that. It was, people wanted to hear that.
Exactly.
He was also able to take his songs and do them with a kind of pop format. They weren't 30-minute excursions into
extended solos.
Yeah, Johnny Winter and Frank Marino and Peter Frampton. The generation before that was really all about the jamming. So it worked better with the 1980s sort of mentality. Reaganomics. It's got to be quick, fast, punchy.
And boom, there it was.
That's how you had to do it back
Texas
in the 80s.
Blues, my brother.
Comes from Texas. People get interested in Texas again. People are like, who's from Texas? And there was and coincidentally, maybe not coincidentally, another guy from Texas had a giant resurgence who had but this guy was big in the 70s too. Billy Gibbons and his band ZZ Top.
Yes.
ZZ Top has a giant resurgence, and they're basically a blues boogie band from Texas.
Yes, sir.
So there is a resurgence of interest in this stuff, and Pittsburgh Kevin is going to kind of give us the background on Stevie Ray because this really begins with him, right?
Definitely.
Absolutely, and it is his birthday. So
that's why we're doing this.
Homage.
Yes.
So, Mr. Pittsburgh, go ahead and get us...
We keep talking about Texas blues. So I'm going to give you a real quick history of Texas blues, how this led up to Stevie Ray, real quick. All right, so let's go all the way back to the 1890s. Blind Lemon Jefferson is born to sharecroppers. By 1970...
I thought you were going to say he was born to share. I'm like, wow.
Honey, she's not that old. She still looks fabulous. So anyway, by 1917, Blind Lemon Jefferson is playing guitar in Dallas. He's making $150 in tips a week. Think about that, 1917, $150.
Well, he was making money.
He was making some buku bucks, right?
You go buy a house and stuff with that.
Yeah, so 1926, he does recording for Paramount. It's basically the first solo guitarist. He's basically the first solo guitarist recording artist, okay, in the blues genre. He plays, and this is very interesting, he plays single note leads in between his singing. You know, the blues, right? He's doing the bass lines on the guitars.
This is an accepted thing now, completely standard in music at that time. That you know, when you hear this is another thing that was kind of big in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, where during the verses, some of the musicians might play some little filler. You don't want to do it too much. You don't want to overdo it. That was the thing. But you know, you would hear maybe some little piano riff, or you would hear something on the guitar, especially if it was a guitar player.
Right. But this guy's doing it all over the song, right?
He's doing it in
1917.
17.
Yeah. So now we're going to talk about your friend of mine, T-Bone Walker. He was born in 1910.
The mighty T-Bone.
Yeah. Now he hooks up with Blind Melon in the 20s, and he's basically leading them around because Blind Melon is blind, right? So T-Bone, that's exactly what happened. Exactly. So while he's leading Blind Lemon around, he's learning his guitar licks, blah blah blah. But what he does is he applies these blues techniques to an electric guitar. Oh my God. Honky, she's not here.
Honky likes that.
Honky, she's not here. Sorry, buddy.
Honky, she's not here.
You know,
my monkey hole, Richard.
There you go. But T-Bone is very charismatic. He uses that to win over his audience. Now, another fella you might have heard of, I don't know, I could be wrong here, a fellow by the name of Lightning Hopkins. That's exactly what he sounded like.
He could play so fast, it was just like...
Exactly. So he
Lightning,
also...
slow it down so people can hear what you're doing.
He also hooks up with Blind Melon Jefferson, also electrified the blues. Now, Jefferson's style... is a little more I don't know. Little more harder edge. Thanks, buddy. Thanks. I'm not as good a note taker as Lily. But it's these artists that start to really begin to mold that Texas blues sound. So now when rock and roll comes along, musicians were influenced by the style of this electrified blues. If you listen to a lot of the early rock and roll from the 60s and 50s, a lot of it is basically blues. What are you doing?
I'm just adjusting. Continue.
Oh my God, I'm paranoid now. Matter of fact, in the 50s, one of the first Texas rock and roll bands were the Nightcaps. And they were just a bunch of white guys that were playing sped up blues tunes. See? The white man stole the blues wave. This carried on into the 60s. You've got artists like 13th Floor Elevators, Janis Joplin. Now, although they left the Texas scene, they took that style with them. But one fella took up the crusade, and in 1968, you know what I'm going to talk about? You do. That's right, Johnny Winter. He was signed to Columbia. He proudly proclaimed himself a Texas blues man. And Johnny's style really defined Texas blues. He found the branding for what people saw as Texas blues, as opposed to like the Chicago blues or the Mississippi blues. They were like, oh, that's Texas blues, right? However,
well, that's a big thing in the blues, right? Chicago blues, Mississippi.
Yeah, that's right. And there is if you listen, there is a very distinct.
There is a yes.
So by the 70s, however, you know, the rock and roll thing's going on. It dominates the airways. Blues would end up in the background of popular music, and that is until the 80s. So that's when our boy comes along, and that's who we're going to talk about tonight.
Well, Johnny Winter he was a stadium act,
right?
And he did a lot of rock. I mean, some of his he was known for doing some great covers. Like they have a great cover of Jumpin' Jack Flash and stuff like that. Nowadays you hear like on deep cuts stuff like that. But he was a stadium act,
right?
Playing Texas Blues Boogie. Well, at the time he was adding a lot of rock, and later on he said he never wasn't comfortable with that. That he just wanted to be purely a blues artist.
Right.
So then you're right, and in the shadow of that, like kind of waiting in the wings, right? Is this next round?
Exactly.
And this really takes off, and it is because of MTV. Do you want to go ahead with Stevie?
Yeah, so we're going to start talking about Stevie. So he was born 1954 in Dallas, Texas. Stevie and his older brother Jimmy, maybe you've heard of him. They actually grew up in Oak Cliff, Texas, after his parents moved there from Dallas. Thank you, sir. Oh, that is better. I like it when you move my mic. Oak Cliff was the black part of town. So it was kind of like the lower, like educational employment, and it was that, right? But here's the thing about Oak Cliff. T-Bone Walker, remember him? He cut his chops in Oak Cliff and was actually known as Oak Cliff T-Bone for a while. So there you go. So Stevie and Jimmy, their parents both work and basically left them at home a lot with a lot of free time. They filled that free time with music. Yes, kids. Just say no to everything else and play some music.
Play some music, man. Learn an instrument.
Yeah, radio introduced them to the blues. Jimmy brought home all kinds of music, and Stevie absorbed it all. Jimmy and Stevie joined their first band, the Pendulums. Oh, I get it, because they swing. In the late 60s, Jimmy was noticed and joined a band called the Chessmen. He was a real big deal at 15 years old, that Jimmy. Now, Stevie continued to be influenced by records, and in 1967, he heard a young feller's record, and it just blew him away.
Young feller.
A young feller. You know what that young feller was? A feller by the name of Jimi Hendrix. He shattered everything.
Hendrix.
Yeah, so what, Jimmy, if you really listen to it, Jimmy is a blues player, but he adds his own, he really made blues progressive. He really moved it forward. And as the 70s moved on, bands like Cream and Led Zeppelin with their loud volume and extended guitar solos influenced Stevie. So it comes a point in Stevie's life where he's, just kind of checking shit out, if you don't mind me saying so. And he finds Albert King's music. And it really brings him back to the blues, where he wanted to be. At age 15, Stevie would sneak out. This is awesome. He would sneak out at night, sit in with bands, go home, get a few hours sleep, and then go to school. That was his life. So if you wonder why he got so good, that's why. At 16, Stevie joined Blackbird. They were influenced by the Allman Brothers Band. Basically, both bands were like blues jam bands, right? Stevie loved Dwayne's playing, inspired by his slide playing. And the Blackbird's success caused Stevie to quit high school. Well, yeah, right? That way he didn't have to worry about going to school the next day. 1971, Blackbird moved to Austin, where there was more opportunity. Within weeks, Stevie and Blackbird were the top band in Austin. Stevie was more popular than his better-known big brother, Jimmy Vaughn.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, right?
SpaghettiOs.
Yes, however, internal differences began to tear Blackbird apart. The bass player left, and rival band Cracker Jacks, which was the rhythm section for Johnny Winter's band. Oh, jeez. But the rival band Cracker Jacks bass player joined. His name, Tommy Shannon. Folks, hey now. Is it Will Smith?
Will Smith.
Get Tommy Shannon's name out my mouth. But anyway, remember that name, Tommy Shannon. But even though all this moving around in bands, Blackbird did fall apart. So there's this fella by the name of Mark Benno, a relatively well-known artist. He's going to put an album together. He's looking for a blues band. So he asked Jimmy Jimmy Vaughn, the older brother. He said, would you come play my album? Jimmy's like, no, man, you're too rock and roll for me. He goes, what are you talking? No, Jimmy's like, I am strictly blues. He goes, you might want to check out my brother, though. So he went, hired Stevie. The studio's musicians, after this record was done, the musicians that were in the studio formed a band called Nightcrawlers and went back to Austin. They were in LA, of course, recording. Oh, they ran just like that.
That's them going down.
That is them. Once there, they play there as the Nightcrawlers and stuff. But then Stevie noticed this other band, Paul Ray and the Cobras, and that's not a cobra. Do you have a thing that goes little licky, little snaky lick,
Little snaky lick.
little snaky?
Hey man, I want a snaky lick.
Little snaky lick.
Come on, Mom.
Come on,
give me a
little
snake.
snaky
Let me
lick.
give you a snaky
Come on
lick.
now.
Come on.
Going off the rails now. But anyway, so Stevie ends up joining this band, Paul Ray and the Cobras. And by 1975, blues is off the radio. That's what you were hearing on the radio. That was terrible. We're like, where's the blues? And all we heard was that. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. That's right. So in Austin, in 1975, in Austin, a club opened called Antone's Nightclub.
Antone's.
Antone's?
Not Anton's. Antone's.
Antone's? Aquafoli? Antone's.
Antone's.
That's why you're here. Thank you.
There's all kind of albums. I wanted to talk. These are in my notes too, but I wanted to. Antone's is like. There's like a lot of bands that have albums out live at Antone's. Mm-hmm. It's that kind of. It's kind of Austin's version of the Fillmore, maybe.
Exactly.
Like
Yeah, very big. So the thing about this Antone's nightclub is that it gave local and national blues bands a place to play, and it was a hit. Big names would play there and let the local musicians play along with them. So at one point, Albert King, Stevie, he did not play that. Bones. Albert King, who is a huge hero of Stevie, let Stevie get up and play with them at Antone's, right? Albert loved them, and they soon became friends. So the thing about the Cobras here is Stevie is learning to be a front man more than just a back.
Okay.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So he's getting up, he's singing some shit, he's engaging with the audience, so he's beginning to learn that front man thing. So it gets to the point where, Stevie's like, this is good, but I want to do my own thing. So in 1977, he decided to form his own band. His first band was Triple Threat Review. Yes, we're getting closer to something else. What? What's wrong?
I'm just going to
I thought you...
I'm just thinking about this Triple Threat Review.
I thought you knew something I did not. Now here's the thing. In town, if they were to go up against the Fabulous Thunderbirds, Jimmy's band, and the Cobras, his old band, they always struggled. Like they'd play, like the other bands were playing to like a couple hundred people. They were lucky if they could get 50. Okay. So, of course they start splitting up. Come on, I'm not Lily. Hey, look at my bosoms.
It's just funny.
Just like that. I'm learning to be a front man, just like Stevie. Well, anyway, the band splits up. So Stevie forms another band, kind of taking bits and pieces from his old band, and he names that one Double Trouble. They've got like a female vocalist, they've got keyboards and stuff like that. But over time, people decide they don't want to be in it anymore. They leave. So the female lead singer quits, but they had gigs planned, right? So Stevie stepped up and took over the singing. Now again, band members come and go, and their bass player decides he's going to leave. So this fella shows up. He's going to play bass for him. Guess what his name was?
Tommy Shannon.
I told you to remember that name, and you did. God damn
Good
it!
for me. I get the gold
God
star.
damn it, Gump! You're a genius. So at this point, it's now a power trio, and Double Trouble, as we know it, was solidified. What the hell was that? What the hell was that? So 1982, right? They're getting some notoriety. 1982, they were booked at a blues festival in Montreux, Switzerland.
There's video of this.
This is very pivotal.
Yeah, this is interesting. Very interesting.
Very pivotal. Unfortunately, they were booked on an acoustic night. After their set, they were both cheered and booed.
No, they were booed.
There's some cheering, but it's very
little.
Booed,
very
right?
mostly booed. They just hated it. That was terrible.
Yeah, because they were there to hear the acoustic.
Exactly.
Guitars.
Exactly. But some stuff happens.
Yes.
And then when he returns, there's a little bit. But there's a video.
Definitely. There is video
DVD
out there
or something.
Yeah.
Where you see both.
Right.
They show you both, the first one and the second one. When he comes back the second time, he's a rock star.
Exactly. A couple of people were there at that festival. You know who? Little fella by the name of David Bowie was there. Another fella, may have heard of him. Jackson Browne was there, right? So they happened to catch Stevie and really like what they see. Jackson is so impressed with them that he offers them studio time. So this is where they're going to do their first album as Stevie Ray Double Trouble. So 1983 was a really good year. Stevie actually recorded with David Bowie. Remember that?
He's on all the guitar on the album Let's Dance.
Exactly.
And
right?
it has those he doesn't do like a lot of like flashy stuff.
No.
But the stuff he does is really good. It's like at the end of all the stuff at the end of China Girl.
Yes.
That's really
nice.
Yeah,
and you can once you know who it is, you're like, oh fuck, of course it is.
Yeah.
You know? They end up opening for a couple of shows for Duane Allman. All right. They get signed. Nice, you know. So now Stevie is gearing up to go on tour with Bowie. You know, he's going to help. And your sound effects crack me up. So he's getting ready to go on tour with Bowie. All right. Now here's the problem. The tour with Bowie is going to coincide. Oh, by the way, Double Trouble is going to open up for Bowie on a couple shows. So they're going to get some national exposure. Okay.
That's cool.
That's good. But this tour is going to coincide with their debut album coming out. And the powers that be are like, this might actually hurt Stevie's career because people are going to see him playing with Bowie, but then they're going to, he's a blues artist, blah, blah, blah. So there's a lot of discussions made, and Stevie Ray dropped out of the tour. I'm sure you remember that happening.
Yes.
But with all this happening, he gets some notoriety. Hey, this is the guy that turned down Bowie. Okay. So he drops out of the tour.
This is when things like that mattered.
Yeah.
You know,
you're like, whoa, you're not going to...
David Bowie was a freaking icon at this point.
Yeah.
It was like Jai fucking Normus. We're going to do a podcast on artists whose careers spanned 2 or more decades. I mean, like really spanned the decades, like really. And David Bowie is on that list for sure.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
For sure, yeah. But good.
Anyway, so it turns out Texas Flood is released. Fucking hit. It's not just a hit, it's a fucking hit. And like we were talking about earlier, there's nothing else like it on the radio. You've got Culture Club, you have all these other bands, and then all of a sudden, boom, there's Stevie, right? So anyway, things are going really good. However, touring can take its toll on you, Lou. And Stevie started using some substances. And
ibuprofen,
Tylenol, Midol,
X-Lax,
extra strength. It was terrible. And it starts affecting himself, his health, his performances and everything like that. Stevie is at least smart enough to go, I need help. So he does go to rehab.
Well, doesn't he fall off the stage at one point?
Yeah.
There's some shame.
Yeah, it's shameful. But but he at least he at least gets himself cleaned up.
There was was Lava Lounge. Can't remember, but I was in there and talking with like the manager or the owner or something one time, and he was like, yeah, he says I was in. He says when Stevie played Pittsburgh like way back in the day, like
right.
in the very beginning, he says he came in here, was drinking, and he was drinking whiskey with cocaine in it.
Well, right. It adds that little extra punch of flavor, doesn't it? Wow.
Yeah, he was just right there at the bar. He was just whipping out the Coke and, it was whiskey and cocaine, man.
Yeah. Well, thankfully he did get himself help, and it stuck. Like, a lot of artists will go rehab and they fall off again. His album In Step, which is actually kind of a nod to the 12-step program and all that stuff. It's released, I believe, in 86. Was it 86, 87? Something like that. And then, things are going good. Unfortunately, this really sucks. So, August 27th, 1990, he is opening for Eric Clapton. 2 shows. After the second show, they're all going to fly to Chicago, right?
Sweet home!
Yes. And so, Eric has 4 helicopters in the parking lot waiting for him. They're going to fly out to Chicago, Unfortunately, the helicopter pilot that flew Stevie, the helicopter Stevie, was not trained in radar flight, and it was very foggy that night. So the other 3 they took off no problem. This guy took off, was blinded by the parking lot lights in the fog, and crashed the helicopter. So unfortunately, Stevie passed away August 27th.
Look, man, if you're a big rock star, don't get on a fucking airplane or a fucking helicopter.
No, sir, no.
Fucking stupid.
At least check. Yeah.
It was a terrible tragedy.
Yeah, I remember it.
It was a terrible. I remember when that happened. Like they announced, I woke up in the morning and DVE announced that he had been killed. It was just fucking surreal.
You're like, what?
This guy just gets his life together,
right?
And it's like nope, you're done.
That's it.
Could you imagine, was the last thought that went through his head, after he got on that helicopter? He was probably like, fuck. It's just all sort of going good, and I'm going to fucking die.
That's great. Lovely. Lovely. Oh, my gosh. So that's my little report on Stevie.
That was very good, Mr. Pittsburgh.
That's for Lily.
I will give you the gold star on your forehead.
Ready?
Okay?
Tickles.
So,
but in a good way.
Yeah, he has this giant thing.
Excuse me?
He has this giant thing.
Okay.
That happens to him, and all these other people get sucked in.
Yes.
They're the coattail riders, I call them. Mm-hmm. And this is the Bonnie Raitt's.
Yes, sir.
The Johnny Langs.
Sure.
The Kenny Wayne Shepherds. The Robert Crays.
Yes.
Ian Moore.
Yes.
People like that. Colin James.
You got...
you guys ever remember a guy named Eric Johnson?
I've heard of him.
People were all of a sudden interested in anybody who's from Texas. If you're a musician from Texas, people were like,
I want to hear you.
I want to hear you. They must be good.
Exactly.
And so there was a whole thing with that. People like Lou Ann Barton, people like that. Mm-hmm. We wouldn't have had Doyle Bramall and Charlie Sexton.
Yes.
Charlie Sexton is a lot like Stevie Ray Vaughn in the sense that he was on stage as a little 13, 14-year-old kid playing with B.B. King and stuff like that. I said Ian Moore, Colin James, and something also really interesting happened, and I think that what happened was when everybody saw that the blues was going to be okay, you could go play blues,
play it,
and people will dig it. This turned Eric Clapton back around to being more of a blues, getting back into that type of thing, and as well as converting Gary Moore out of his sort of 80s hard rock sound into more of a blues sound.
Exactly.
So all of that, he kind of shaped. So he's really influential, and I think that if you follow the lineage. Right, like I said, Johnny Lang, Kenny Wayne Shepherd, Joe Bonamassa.
Exactly.
He's now in with this. There's this whole slew of guys that just kind of keep coming out of the woodwork. You've got Josh Smith right now as well, Marcus King, people like that are kind of carrying the Allman Brother Trucks.
Derek Trucks,
Derek Trucks.
Susan.
Susan Tedeschi. But I was thinking of the Government Mule guy, Warren Haynes.
Warren, okay.
Warren Haynes. All of this, even like bands that were, speaking of Warren Haynes and all that, the Allman Brothers release a record like in about like 1990 that gets all over the radio, and they have a big tour, and they had like a big seven turns. They had, they had 2 singles on it that were became like rock staples of that era. So, and this is really because of what Stevie was able to do, getting on MTV. The first time I heard Stevie Ray Vaughn was I saw the video to Cold Shot, and it's a good video. It's funny. It's like, it's kind of it's good. It's really it's fun. It's very cool. You should check it out. So it also kind of, the blues and rock at this point start to merge.
Yeah,
really. There's really like, I was a few years ago was writing reviews and doing interviews for a website called Blues Rock Review, and really these people are a lot of stuff that blues artists that come out and play records. I'm like, if that would have came out in like 1979, it'd have been considered a rock album. Yeah, it would have been rock. Yeah, like Tyler Bryant.
Oh yeah, Tyler
Bryant is another one. He's a current guy who's kind of in that thing as well. So, it was kind of a very odd thing, but I really kind of attribute it to a lot of it to MTV, them being able to put blues on MTV. Exactly. I mean, even the Fabulous Thunderbirds, who were not sexy guys at all, had videos on MTV that were in rotation, not just like they played once. Like it was in rotation.
Yeah, it was in rotation.
Yeah, and they had hits on the radio.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just, I remember, as I was doing my research and thinking about when Texas Flood came out and how somebody said there was nothing else like it on the radio. Yeah, that is absolutely true. It was like almost like a breath of fresh air, because everything was so, back in 82, everything was so poppy. I mean, you had your rock and everything, but wow, all of a sudden to have this thing just like come out of the speakers at you, you're like, whoa, what's this?
It was really, it really stood out. It was really different.
Yeah, because it wasn't rock. It wasn't pop, but it wasn't rock. There was something.
But it was rock too.
But
like
it was.
The way Stevie played, he brought like a kind of modern edge to it as well. Mm-hmm. It was just enough. It wasn't like he crossed the line over into being. This is what happened with Charlie Sexton. Everybody was like, he's good. Like he was poised to be the next Stevie Ray Vaughn. Well, he puts out his record, and it's like a synth pop album. Mm-hmm. He so people were like, they were kind of like, on it. But Stevie was able to kind of walk that line between the two things really, really well. He just had the right touch. He had the velvet touch. Do we have any comments you want to say anything about?
Yeah, Lou talks too much. Kevin is fantastic. No, it's just people saying hello that they're watching.
Who's saying hello? Who's
we've
on?
Got, let me tell you.
It's the shout-outs.
Here's our shout-outs for the evening. Chris Thunderwolf is here.
Yeah!
Billy Thomas, all the way from South Carolina.
I've been in the Billy T tonight.
Our good friend Jody is here.
Jody. Yeah! The doctor is in the house.
Hey now! Wow. That was good.
We love all y'all.
All y'all.
All y'all? All y'all.
I love all y'all.
We love all y'all.
Some in a different way. Then that's exactly what I'm talking about.
I mean, there's different kinds of love, Mr. Pittsburgh.
There is.
There's the love that a father has for his children.
Sure.
There's the love that a son might have for his mother.
Sure. Yes.
There's the love between a man and a woman in a romantic way.
Sure.
There's the love between two women. That's my favorite.
Is that your favorite?
That's my favorite. Don't forget
your favorite.
that.
You like that?
We don't want to leave that out.
No. There's the love between a man, a woman, and a midget in a clown outfit.
Do you remember? What? When did you decide? So when did you decide to become a midget?
Oh no! Wait, I had a good comeback for that. I can't remember. It was when I was little.
When I was little.
Oh man! My apologies to any little people that are listening.
We had. I sometimes. I don't do this anymore, but there was a time when I would drink
What?
And, maybe get a little bit of marijuana. But I don't do it anymore. I'm like straight now.
Good, thank God. I'll drink to that.
So, and this was the first person of that. I don't want to say the wrong nomenclature and offend anybody.
Persuasion. I don't think it's persuasion.
Let's put it this way. A person like Kenny Baker.
Sure.
Okay, we'll just put it that way. A Kenny Baker type.
Kenny Baker.
And I was shit-faced.
Oh, Lord.
And, like the filter came right off.
Yeah.
But Mr. Pittsburgh kept me from getting my ass kicked by Kenny Baker.
Yeah, that was... I'm like, no.
He was like, no. Yeah. This guy walks in. Mr. Pittsburgh just looks at me and says, don't. He's like shaking. No. You're like,
don't
no.
Go there.
Don't
go there. Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. So praise the Lord.
Yes, hallelujah.
Anyways, thank you guys for listening. We do appreciate it.
Yeah.
Wolf's Customs, check them out for some custom artwork done on your musical instrument.
Mm-hmm.
RockRageRadio.com. Download the free app. Don't forget to listen to Hot Licks with Lily 6 on Thursdays at 6.
I always have to do that.
And LoudiniRockAndRollCircus.com. Go there to check out all our back podcasts, as well as keep up what we have going on and become part of our inner circle. So,
right.
That is all that stuff kind of midway through here.
There you go.
So,
get that out of the
there's
way.
some, oh man.
Yeah?
I discovered
Yes?
let's do the new, do you have a new and notable or not?
Yeah, I kind of do.
Let's do that first.
Okay.
We'll do that first. And then I want to, here's my notes.
Oh,
So what do you got, Mr. Pittsburgh?
So I see a lot of new stuff on the TikTok, because I'm old. I call it the TikTok. There's a fella, Valley Duncan Music, VALLIE Duncan Music, and he's on there all the time. He does a lot of live streams where he's just playing his guitar with backing tracks, and it's really cool. So if you're on the TikTok, look up Valley, VALLIE Duncan Music. Give him a view. He's very. It's not like heavy metal shredding. It's very melodic, but it's kind of rocky. A little bluesy too. But that's always fun when he comes up on my For You page.
I have a lot of guitar videos on, and they're growing on TikTok as well. So follow me on TikTok for that stuff. Just kind of started out doing it for fun and finding out that people respond to. We also have on TikTok, what do we call audiograms, and there's like a snippets of, for like about a minute of the podcast with some stupid thing I'm saying or mispronouncing or whatever, and we all have a good laugh at. So those are on there as well. So follow us on TikTok. So I've discovered. Well, I'll tell you what.
Yes.
We'll do it when we get to this day in what the Beatles did. We will get into that.
Okay.
Real quick, a couple of let's see, where are we on time? We're in 1 hour.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a lot of time.
Oh yeah.
So, do you guys think? Now, I wish Lily was here.
Yes.
This would be a perfect question for Lily. But there's this thing about Yngwie. But Yngwie and his like so-called arrogant attitude.
Yes.
I saw there's a YouTube page that I follow. It's called How to Practice Guitar. I believe that's what it's called.
Okay.
Mike Filipov is his name.
Alrighty.
And he does mostly like guitar lessons. He gives you like a 7-8 minute guitar lesson.
Okay.
But sometimes he'll do kind of like come out and like dispel a myth or something like that,
Yeah.
So he was talking. Yngwie is obviously one of his heroes. It's not when you listen to Mike play, you can hear there's Yngwie's all over it. But Yngwie used to, he gets all this shit about being arrogant and full of himself and blah, 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 and all that. But,
right.
He played a small bit of an interview with him today. And Yngwie was basically saying that, like, where he grew up, he said not only was it physically dark a lot of times, he says people were like kind of depressed and to themselves. And if you ever said you wanted to do anything or be anything, people were like, no, you're just like everybody else. You can't do anything. So he says you really had to, he says, for me to like bust out and be able to become what I wanted in my life was I had to leave that attitude behind.
Okay.
And he says you have to have some kind of believe kind of in yourself and have some kind of confidence in yourself. You have to kind of put it out there a bit. And I many years ago I had I was working with a coaching group for musicians, and the leader of our group was a guy who had toured with big bands and stuff like that, and he told us that actually this humility that a lot of artists have, like in interviews, is total BS.
Yeah.
You know, this is what the record label wants them to portray and stuff like that, so that the most of them that they'd make it have to have a kind of a rock star attitude.
Right.
You kind of have to. That's why we love these people too. I mean, you know, would you want the reason we love David Lee Roth is because he's fucking David Lee Roth. He's not Joe Schmo.
Right.
You know, lives down there on Pike Street. Slinging hot wings at Big Fellas. No, he's David fucking Lee Roth. You want to know that. You want him to be a little bit of an asshole.
Right. It's your hero.
He's your hero. He's
everything you can't be in real life.
He can say and do all the things you can't say and do.
You tell him, Dave. Yeah, right.
So I think that Yngwie gets a little bit. I think he's an amazing guitar player. He's one of my favorite guitar players. Absolutely. It's because I'm a guitar like nerd.
Yes.
There are guitar players that I like for really bizarre reasons. Like there's guitar players that I have albums that I bought just because I love the guitar sound on it.
Okay.
And I wasn't even all that nuts about the music per se. But that tone was so good that it just sold me. Yeah. And with Yngwie, what it is, it's his pick attack. Every note that he plays is like definite. This is the note that I meant to play. I do not play any notes that I do not mean to play. There's nothing like whooshy about it or anything. It is like it's almost
very
like
precise.
It's almost like listening to a pianist.
Okay.
It's just he just boom boom boom. There's no. It's flawless the way he attacks. It's the pick and the fact that he just really has. It's just super definite. Everything is the synchronization between the two hands. Everything is absolutely like exactly how it should be.
Right.
And it just when I just hear that sound, and he's got that awesome tone. He plays a freaking Stratocaster, and it's a regular Strat. I mean, the pickups are hotter and stuff, but it doesn't have humbuckers or anything. And
no, it's just a regular single coil.
And it has a lot to do with his sound as well.
Have you ever played a scallop neck?
Once or twice.
So that gives you a little more respect for him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, the scallop neck does allow you to have the strings closer. So you can play,
That's
you can
true.
make it easy. That's why they scallop the neck. But you do have to watch not to press
how much pressure you put.
Yeah, you have to play.
Yeah.
But that's how you should play.
Right?
There's a kind of misconception with the guitar that I had for many, many years was that I really had to press those strings down. No, you don't. Somebody challenged me on that a while back, and I was like, what are you talking about, Willis? And then I started doing it like, what's the lightest I can press down and still make the notes come out? And it's like pretty fucking light.
Yeah.
It's not nearly, it's a fraction of the energy I was using. Just goes to show you could teach an old dog new tricks. Also on YouTube this week, Loudini's Great Moments on YouTube. Michael Nolan put out a couple of videos back to back. There are, I don't want to get too deep in this, but there are some cool like music concert package DVD, CD kind of things that are happening right now. We talked about the remixing of the Beatles, things like that. Well, CCR, Creedence Clearwater Revival, and Led Zeppelin have just putting out live concert things. The CCR one is a tie-in with a concert that's actually available on Netflix right now.
Oh, wow.
So
that's
I definitely
right.
want
Yeah,
I definitely want to check that out. But check out Mike's video because he gives you a lot of awesome background about CCR and that sort of thing. And then Led Zeppelin Celebration Day, which is really interesting because this was a band that said they did everything to not reunite. They just were not going to reunite because
Right.
they were like, we did that. And quite frankly, they were so close that they just couldn't do it without Bonham. Like they just could. I've had some people say, I don't know why they just didn't go get a drummer and just do it. Come on, there's millions of drummers out there. Anybody could come and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
There's only one John fucking Bonham.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was it. It was just him. And that's what a band is. It's everybody is in their on their spot,
right,
doing their thing exactly the way they do it, and the four of them all work together to create this amazing sound. That was the magic of Led Zeppelin. That was the magic of the Who. That the original Who. That was the magic of the Beatles. That was that's what a band is supposed to be. Not the. Anyways, so they would never reunite or anything, but they did do this concert for Armand Artigan, who did all. This guy was a very beloved figure in the music industry. He was the kind of guy, like, he was one of the, because he worked for Atlantic, and Led Zeppelin would always say, if that is the best record label you could ever be on, because they're really for artists, and Armand Artigan was really for artists. He's depicted in the movie Ray. And in that movie, he's the guy who's like encouraging Raitt to kind of like do it his own way. This is what they want. They want the bands to be themselves.
Right.
So they did this concert for Armand Artigan, and they reunited John Paul Jones, Robert Plant, and Jimmy Page with Jason Bonham on drums.
The drums. Yeah.
And it's very good. The stuff that I've heard, the bits and pieces I've heard from it is really good. Robert Plant, of course, sings different now. Sorry, that's just what he does. He just makes the best use of his voice. He doesn't try to do stuff he can't do.
Yeah.
He sticks with what he sounds good at doing, and that's so. Anyway, so check out Michael Nolan's videos on it for more information. These are really cool packages, and I was actually looking at them on Amazon. They're kind of expensive.
I imagine.
Yeah, they're kind of expensive.
I imagine it would be. Yeah.
They're kind of expensive.
Yeah.
But it's on the list, so if somebody wants to buy me a nice Christmas present, the CCR in the Led Zeppelin, those would be awesome Christmas presents.
Yeah.
So we're wrapping up. We're coming on the end here. We're going to do This Day in Music, or This Day in what the Beatles did. But there is something that there's a website I discovered.
Oh.
No,
tell.
Mr. Pittsburgh, it's not that kind of website.
No?
No.
There's no little people in clown. What?
Let me see if I can find it.
Lou,
Top 40 Weekly.
Lou, while you're doing that, I have a question for you. We all know the correct, politically correct nomenclature is little person, which makes me wonder. Well, that's what I've been. Know what it is. That's what I've been told, and which makes me wonder if the MG Motor Company now has to change the name of their car from midget to little person. What do you think?
Is that really what it's called, the midget?
Yeah, there's the MG midget.
I didn't.
What do you think?
I don't think that.
What do you think?
No. I think no. Nay, I say.
Nay, you say?
So I discovered this
so what's
website called top40weekly.com.
Oh.
Going back to the 1950s.
Okay.
You can look at the top 40 from any week.
Interesting.
Okay, so I'm not going to go back any further than the 70s.
Okay.
So we're going to go back even numbers. So we're going to go back to 1972. This is 2022. Okay. So we're going to go to, today is October 3rd.
Right.
So which one do we want? We want
a
week ending in October 7th.
There you go. Perfect.
Okay.
Let's take a look.
Here we are. So
Okay.
this is fun. This is really fun.
1972.
I think we're
everybody.
going to make this a regular feature. So in 1972, the top 10, we're not going to do all top 40.
No.
Nobody got time for that.
Yeah. Wow.
So the number 10 is Popcorn by Hot Butter. Yeah. See, everybody talks about today's music being like shitty. There was plenty of shitty music.
Shitty music.
Like in every decade, okay?
Yeah.
Now, The next song is probably not far off from Popcorn.
Right?
My Ding-a-Ling by Chuck
Berry. Wow.
Released on the Chess label. It was number 9 this week. Black and White by Three Dog Night. That's
okay.
a good jam.
Right,
I like
then.
that. Hunk of Burning Love by Elvis Presley.
Thank you very much.
It was number 7. Use Me by Bill Withers. That's a good jam.
There you go.
Go All the Way by the Raspberries. That's a great fucking song. Good. Everybody Plays by Main Ingredient. It was number 4. Number 3, Backstabbers by the OJs. There's a good like Philadelphia soul kind of thing.
OJs.
Ben by Michael Jackson was at number 2. And number 1 was Baby Don't Get Hooked on Me by Mac Davis.
Holy cow.
Yeah, crazy, huh? So that was 1972. Let's go to 1982.
All right, why not? All right, now where's our week here? October 7th?
It's going to be
October
2nd.
No, it's a week ending, so we went the 9th. Yeah. Okay.
So,
all right.
And there were some other ones on that one from the 70s, like farther down.
Yeah, that I recognized.
Donny Osmond, Rod Stewart.
Yes,
it was neat.
yes.
It's really neat. These are really fun to go back and look at them.
We have to check
so this is the top 10 for this week in 1982.
Okay.
I Ran by Flock of Seagulls.
There you
Flock
go.
of Seagulls.
Yes.
You Can Do Magic by America. I always thought that was a 70s song, but that is
So
an
did
80s
I.
song.
Wow.
Somebody's Baby by Jackson Browne. I loved this record he did called Lawyers in Love. It's so good. It's like some of his most lighthearted stuff.
Yep.
It's just Tender as the Night. It's a fucking great
Oh,
song. Somebody's Baby.
yes.
Great fucking song. There's some great songs there. But Somebody's Baby was number 8 for the second week. I keep forgetting every time you're near. Michael McDonald was number 7.
Right.
Eye of the Tiger was number 6.
Wow.
Who Can It Be Now by Men at Work. So those guys had broke at this point.
Yes.
Eye in the Sky by the Alan Parsons Project.
Right.
Abracadabra.
No, you missed one. You
by
missed number 3.
Oops, I missed Hard to Say I'm Sorry by Chicago.
Sorry, Chicago.
Abracadabra by
There you
Steve
go.
Miller.
Yes. Steve
was
Miller.
number 2. And Jack and Diane.
Old ditty.
Just a little ditty. Just a
Little
little
ditty,
ditty.
everybody.
So that was, we'll just do the 90s
Wanna do it?
real
See
quick.
if I know any of these.
So some of these I don't know.
Yeah. What's going on?
Hold on,
There
I'm
we
going to... just real quick, we're not going to do the 90s.
Okay.
I'm just not
All right,
going
let's
to.
take a look at some
But these
other-
are just some funny ones. There's some cool ones like number 17, Up Where We Belong from an Officer and a Gentleman with Joe Cocker.
Joe Cocker.
I discovered this is a song, Hold On by Santana. This is like one of those, I thought I had dreamed this song.
Yes.
Like
you
it was,
told me about that.
only
We listened to
hardly-
it.
And then
right?
I went on a Santana kick a couple of weeks ago, and I found it. It's called Hold On.
Wow.
And it was from, this, or in 1982. But,
Wow.
Hurts So Good by Joe. So
by
he's
John.
got 2 songs in the top 40 that
There you
week.
go.
Back
in the
you
day.
see Juice Newton,
Juice
Melissa
Newton.
Manchester, Eddie Money. It's like, wow, where are these people?
Oh, look at number 33.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
New
Number
World
3 was
Man.
New World Man, not Analog Man. New World Man by Rush. This was that. We're going to do a...
now that one I know.
We're going to do a podcast on bands that never had that are big bands that never had a top.
Never had a top.
We're going to talk about Rush because you would think that like Tom Sawyer had to be like at least in the top 10. No, it's not like
No.
Their only charting song was New World Man.
Wow. That's crazy talk.
So... Mickey by Tony Basil
Sure,
was number
sure.
39. So this is a fun website, top40weekly.com. Go check it out. I think you can have fun. You look at the week of your birthday and when the year you graduate high school and stuff like that. Okay,
right.
so we
Here
are
we go.
heading into the final stretch here.
It's the final stretch now.
The final stretch down.
Stretch down? Wow.
Okay, so let's go back. So this day in music, Elvis Presley, this day in 1945, made his first ever public appearance in a talent contest.
Ooh.
at the Mississippi, Alabama Dairy Show singing Old Ship.
Old Ship.
Elvis was 10 years old at the time.
A little
He
whippersnapper.
came in second.
If only they knew. Wow.
It's funny, like you would, you could have Elvis at your talent
Right,
show and not
right.
even know.
Not even know it.
Not
So,
even know.
on this day, 1958, the biggest show of stars, 1958 tour, kicked off at
Worcester.
You know why? Because I was thinking Worcestershire sauce. Yeah. Worcester Auditorium in Worcester, Massachusetts. Worcester. This autumn edition featured Buddy Holly, Frankie Avalon, Bobby Darin, the Olympics, Dion and the Belmonts, Bobby Freeman, the Elegants, Jimmy Clanton, thank you, the Dan Lears, Dwayne Eddy, Clyde McFatter, and the Coasters.
I know some of them, but I don't know. Wow. Woody Guthrie, American singer, songwriter of the day in 1967, died. Major influence on Bob Dylan, Bruce Springsteen, and many others.
Here we go. Our first offering of the evening. This day, 1968. Working at Trident Studios in London, the Beatles recorded the new George Harrison song, Savoy Truffle?
Savoy Truffle, yes.
Oh, interesting. It's delicious. George, Paul, and Ringo recorded just one take of their basic track, the drums, bass, and lead guitar. The song was inspired by Eric Clapton's love of chocolates, there you go, particularly Macintosh's Good News.
Must have been like some specialty candy.
Right. I really
Little candy shop. Saying, too bad Lily's not here. 78,
Lily.
the members of Aerosmith bailed 30 fans out of jail after they were arrested for smoking pot during an Aerosmith concert.
That was
Fort Wayne
bloody
Coliseum.
nice of them. Oh, okay. This day, 1987. Now, is it pronounced Mars or just M-A-R-S?
Just say Mars.
Mars was at number 1 on the UK singles chart with Pump Up the Volume. The first British-made house hit heavily sampled over recordings, which resulted in litigation. Oh, my.
This day in 1991, MC Hammer, remember him?
Yes.
Offered a $50,000 reward for the return of Michael Jackson's white glove, which had been stolen from the Motown Museum. This is part of an ongoing battle between Hammer and Michael Jackson.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go. This day, 1991, Texas Governor Ann Richards proclaimed October 3rd Stevie Ray Vaughn Day. An annual motorcycle ride and concert in Central Texas benefits the Stevie Ray Vaughn Memorial Scholarship Fund. There you go.
Shinehead O'Connor ripped up a picture of the Pope on Saturday Night Live on this day in 1992.
Naughty.
It must have been a Saturday in 1992.
Apparently, yes. This day, 1999, Tom Jones went to number 1 on the UK album chart with Reload, making the singer the oldest artist to score a UK number 1 album with new material. The album featured the collaboration of, how do you say that? Moosty? Oh, I like Moisty. Moose T's Sex Bomb. Oh, remember that?
Yeah.
Which reached number 3 on the UK singles chart and was later used on an episode of The Simpsons. Of course it was.
Akito Morita, founder of Sony Electronics, died at the age of 78 this day in 1999.
Wow.
Sony Walkman transformed both Sony and consumers across the world.
Yes. On this day, sad day, 2000, the Cars singer and bass player Benjamin Orr died of cancer at home in Atlanta at the age of 53. That's young. Sang lead vocals on the band's hits Just What I Needed, Let's Go, and Drive.
John Lennon's assassin Mark David Chapman was denied parole on this day in 2000 after serving 20 years in prison.
Fine. This day, 2002, original guitarist, vocalist from the American psychedelic rock band Iron Butterfly, Daryl DeLoche. Is that right?
Yeah.
You think?
You're getting all the ones of people dying. What the hell's wrong with you?
Because I kill them. What? Who
On
said
this day
that?
in 2004, UK singer Josh Stone scored her first number 1 UK album with her second release, Mind, Body, and Soul. There's another example of the blues.
Yes.
There was a little bit of a thing with her. in the early 2000s. It was a little bit of interest in that sort of thing. Didn't do what they did in the 80s, but yeah, Joss Stone had put this out. Yeah.
Lord Jesus, here we go. This day, 2008, singer, producer, and songwriter Johnny Jackson, died after jumping from a tier in a Los Angeles jail while serving a sentence for driving under the influence. He produced Tupac. Yeah. Let's see, who else can I kill?
According to the new scientific research, Queen's "We Are the Champions" was found to be the catchiest song ever written. Musicologist Dr. Aslan Powley from the University of London, England, conducted research into what makes a song memorable and compiled a list of 10 catchiest songs of all time. During the research, they discovered that sing-along songs contained 4 key elements: long and detailed musical phrases, multiple pitch changes in a song's hook, male vocalists, higher male voices making a noticeable vocal effort, YMCA by the Village People, Sum 41's Fat Lip, Europe's The Final Countdown were also on the list.
All right. This day, 2013, the family of Michael Jackson lost a negligence case against concert promoters AEG Live over the death of the 50-year-old pop star.
There's a guy died way young.
Yeah.
Damn.
The jury convicted a doctor, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. 2014 mint condition copy of The Beatles. That's their debut. Please Please Me. Excuse me. The Beatles' Please Please Me album, signed by George Harrison, Paul McCartney, John Lennon, Ringo Starr, sold for $36,000 at auction held in the U.S.
It's kind of...
I thought
you think that's low?
Yeah, it sounds low. I thought it'd be like $1 million.
This day, 2019, Liam Gallagher was at number 1 in the UK charts with his second studio album, Why Me? Why not?
Why me, Lord?
Yeah,
I want to ask you guys... If we did an album, a podcast where we did a retrospective.
Yes.
If we did it on an Oasis album, I think "What's the Story, Morning Glory" is a brilliant record. Does anybody? It's just that floating to the audience.
Does that interest anybody?
You know. So anyway, it's just time to run down a couple of happy birthdays to folk.
Sure.
To folk. You know, just nice, clean folk, hanging out at the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus. Yes, nice, fine folk.
Yes.
Record trumpet player Ben Colley.
Happy birthday.
John Perry Barlow, American poet and political activist. Also lyricist for the Grateful Dead.
Yes, happy birthday.
Lindsey Buckingham,
there you
our
go.
Good buddy from Fleetwood Mac. Happy birthday.
He is our
This day in
good buddy.
1949. Ronnie Law, a saxophonist with Earth, Wind, and Fire. Happy birthday.
Yes.
Dwayne Bailey, American guitarist Dwayne Bailey, was toured and recorded. Bob Seger.
Oh, yeah.
From Seger's band. This day in 1954. Happy birthday, American singer-songwriter and guitarist.
Yeah.
Stevie Ray Vaughn.
Attaboy.
Gail Greenwood, the bassist with Belly.
Oh.
Robbie James, happy birthday. Tommy Lee, drummer with Motley.
Ain't that some
Motley
shit?
Crue.
Yeah.
This also could have been a podcast having to do something with Motley Crue.
Sure.
I was thinking about that too.
Yeah.
I was weighing my options.
Yes.
It's happy birthday, Dan Miller, guitarist of the American alternative band. I love that band.
Yeah.
They Might Be Giants.
They might
Build a
be.
little birdhouse in your soul. Be the only bee in your bonnet.
Oh.
Chris Collingwood, lead vocalist, founding member of the power pop band Fountains of Why.
Yes.
This is, I want us to come to a podcast. I want to do a podcast where each one of us brings a band
Right.
that is really good. Maybe they were a one, maybe 2-hit wonder, and then they kind of came and went. But they were really, really good. It's a shame that people didn't know. And my band would be Fountains of Wayne.
Yeah.
You know, we could each have like a little segment where we could talk. We could all talk about it, and we just pick like 3 at a time.
There you go.
But I love this band.
Yeah.
They're really good, and like their albums are good. It's not just like they had that one song. If you go listen to stuff like
it's all good.
It's all really good. It's really good. Gwen Stefani, born this day in 1969,
dudes.
Kevin Richardson from the Backstreet Boys. And Jake Shears from the Scissor Sisters. How ironic his name is Shears.
Oh,
no. His name is His real name is Jason Sellers.
Oh, so he changed
Jake
it for the
Shears,
band,
get
didn't
it
he?
for the Scissor Sisters.
Oh my gosh! All right.
So, okay, guys, happy birthday to all those.
All Jens guys out there.
All y'all.
Yes, all y'all.
So next week we're gonna do an album. We're gonna try to keep it spooky. Get into the spooky season. We're gonna do Trick or Treat. Why are we doing that? Because it is a movie soundtrack for a horror movie called Trick or Treat.
Yeah.
From the 80s.
Yeah.
There's a Trick or Treat from 2007 that does not have any rock bands in it.
It's not. I saw your text. I'm like, this is gonna be rough.
Yeah,
But we got straightened out.
But yes, so Fastway did the soundtrack to it. So we're gonna do that and talk spooky shit and have some fun. You're gonna try to watch the movie? I'm gonna watch the movie. In fact, may I watch it tonight?
Okay, you
Trick
go.
or Treat.
You
Man,
go right
maybe
ahead,
I'll watch
dear.
it because I want to know what I'm
Okay.
getting. I don't want to get myself into.
Yes.
So upcoming podcasts include
Yes.
bands that were ginormous but did not have a #1 hit. There's somebody that is gonna blow your mind.
Really?
There's somebody you're going to go like, no way. You're going to insist that you go to the internet and look it up, and you're going to be like,
You'll be
shit,
like,
this
holy
person
shit.
never had a #1 hit. So we're gonna do that as well. What I think maybe might be fun on the one at the end, the actual Halloween show. Could we talk about the scariest album covers? They're just the ones that speak maybe unnerved
already
us.
some are coming to my mind. So okay.
So that's we could, but you have to come and give you have to talk about the band and
Right,
the
sure,
album cover.
sure,
You can't
sure.
just go like, yeah, my album cover, blah 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 blah.
And it scared me.
Yeah.
You have to tell us.
We gotta,
Okay, we can do that.
We actually have to do something.
That sounds good.
Okay, folks. LoudiniRockandRollCircus.com. Go check that out because this is where you can become part of our inner circle and hang out with all the cool people like Jody and Chris and Bill and all the guys that were hanging out. Michael Goltz, all you guys out there hanging out with us. So we do appreciate that. So you can join in on the fun with that. So you can find out about that. RockRageRadio.com. Download the free
It's
app.
free.
It's totally free. You can listen to great music programming 24/7. And Wolf's Customs, find him on the interwebs there. Chris Thunderwolf Dotson, hit him up. He's got some, can do some wonderful things with your guitar, bass, whatever you have out there. So check it out. What am I going to do? I'm going to watch Trick or Treat.
Are you?
Do my homework.
You crazy.
I'm going to do my homework for the next podcast. I'm up for it. I'm getting psyched.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it. Just fuck it. Let's just do it.
You crazy. You're going to get that movie pregnant.
You know what I like deliberate over stuff way too much with the podcast topics. Like, is this good? Yeah. That's too much like this. Like, I take it like very seriously.
I hope so.
I just I don't know, because I like it. I enjoy it. It's fun. So yeah, so that's what we're gonna do next week. I'm gonna do that this weekend. I can't think of anything really going on, guys. Just if you can, drop Lily a little comment somewhere nice. Say something nice. Don't be like, yeah, nice tits. Like, well, maybe she like that too.
She might like that, but nonetheless,
say something nice. She's dealing with some shit right now, so she needs a little encouragement.
Yeah.
And I think it would be cool if we could spread the love. Don't forget to vote for her as well.
Oh yeah, she's still in the Face of Horror.
Face of Horror. So don't forget if you find
vote daily.
It's right there on her Facebook page.
Yeah.
You can. There's a link right there. Just go and do that. Vote often.
Yes.
So okay, guys, thank you so much. We had a good time tonight.
Yeah.
Hopefully we're going to see Lily next week.
Yes.
And I would like to get Mr. Hawkins back as soon as possible as well. So
Indeed.
All right, guys, have a wonderful weekend. We'll catch you all in the next Loudini Rock and Roll Circus.